Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90.
Spectrum wants to hear your views. You can SMS at any time during the show. Type Spectrum, leave a space, type in your contribution and name, then send it to 7197. Your views, our interviews on Spectrum, Radio 1 FM 90.
A very warm welcome. This is Spectrum on Radio 1. My name is Edmond, Kizito, your host. On Spectrum, tonight we review the week. Some of the issues we'll be looking at: the presidential term limits debate. The NRM has taken a stand saying people should stop talking about those issues. They should concentrate on development. It's too far away. It's still a long way to the polls, so they should wait. We'll talk about that. 380 billion shillings spent every year on foreign treatment, or at least last year, on treatment of senior government officials and other people. On foreign treatment, we'll talk about that. Some people have proposed that they should build health facilities and equip them using that money. We'll talk about the clashes within the Muslim community. The East African Legislative Assembly passing a unanimous resolution asking presidents in this region to request that the Kenyans indicted at the ICC, their cases should be referred to the East African Community Court of Justice. We'll talk about that. Sudan and Charles Taylor, the first head of state to be sentenced to be found guilty at The Hague, that's at the International Criminal Court. Our guests tonight: Honorable Mike Sebalu, Uganda representative at the East African Legislative Assembly, also a member of the National Resistance Movement, NEC, and the new member of the Disciplinary Committee of that party. You're most welcome, Honorable Mike Sebalu.
Yeah, thank you very much, our moderator, Edmond Kizito. I'd like to salute and greet all our listeners out there and those that are viewing us on the net. And I just want to bring you greetings from East African community in general and the East African Legislative Assembly in particular. And I hope that we are going to have a 1 hour of fruitful discussions, as always the case.
That's right. We're also joined by Imam Kasozi, a lecturer at IUIU, that's the Islamic University in Uganda, also a Muslim cleric. You're most welcome, Imam.
Thank you. Good evening, viewers and listeners.
We're also joined by Mr. Vincent Mayanja, Deputy Secretary General of the Democratic Party, but also a veteran journalist. You're most welcome, Mr. Mayanja.
Thank you, Edmond. Good evening, viewers and listeners.
Imam Kasozi, this week the NRM warned its members to stop discussing the term limits. There have been calls to have them restored. They've also been asked to stop talking about succession because it's not an issue. The president is alive, he still has 4 years to go. Is this the right thing for the NRM to do? And or do you think the NRM MPs are out of order talking about these things now?
Thank you very much. I don't know which members of NRM that have been asked not to talk about the term limits. Probably I don't know whether the MPs or the ordinary member or all Ugandans, because fortunately we are living at a time when people are experiencing many things, and these things are exposing them to reality. The fortunate thing is that many of the MPs who were in the 7th Parliament and passed this have come out open and said it was a gentleman's agreement between them and His Excellency the President, and they did not see any problem then, but today they are seeing, and some have vowed not to be restricted. Let what come may. And I had one MP who said that even when they invite him to the disciplinary committee, he would not go because he has no business there, which I think those are words of courage. But if he believes in the institution, he should challenge that institution from the very meeting and tell them, look, thank you very much for inviting me. What you are asking, I think, is lacking here and here, and so that people can know, because many people are not exposed. They don't know the weakness within the system. So, one, the framers of the 1995 Constitution had backed very much on the history of Uganda in order for people to have limits. Two, not only Uganda, many people peg it on Uganda, but they had looked at Africa and they had seen the conflicts in Africa caused by stay over city. Because these African people, we are coming from, I think, kingdoms and chiefdoms into republics and states where power is shared, where power is delegated, where power is contested for. Okay? And so that's why probably they said the best thing, since we have very many and all of us would wish to be those who are capable, let us give an opportunity so that people have some assurance that if Mayanja takes it today, I am very sure after 4 years or 5 years we shall recontest again. If I beat him, I take over, or if I fail, then the next time. The biggest shortcoming that the NRM as a group is bringing this country is to think that without His Excellency President Museveni, their party does not exist. That is a dangerous situation they are bringing, because they are not saying that parties must not contest because they have been in power for 2 terms. They are only saying individuals, okay, should not. And but the individual, some people who actually, in the real sense, they no longer have any bigger contribution to the survival of this country. They are in the evening of their time. They are clinging to that. Then they are helped by a section of younger survivors, younger boys, men and women, who, because they have chosen not to work, but they want to live a happy life, they cling on that, and then they are used, they are misused actually. I should be the word. They are misused to think into this. Therefore, it is ridiculous for a political organization that knows that politics depends on debates and discussions, yes, that tells its members that don't engage in a debate. If you have,
but they're saying use the right forum. They have the
now which right forum? What are you talking about? Because who are discussing the restoration of the of terms? Ugandans.
Why don't they bring it in their party?
Ugandans. These people represent some of these Ugandans into.
Well, but they have a forum. They can bring it within their party. Get consensus.
But before they come to that forum, they must have discussed with the public, with the people. I'm very certain. Fortunately, when people were beginning to think that they should bring the term limits.
Yes, 20 of
the civil society. When the civil society was organizing it, actually, I was privileged to have been invited to this gathering, and I actually embraced it. I said, Alhamdulillah,
recently,
thank God.
The new movement that involves bishops as well.
Thank God, people. And I remember we said, and that the only gift that President Museveni can give to this country, yes, is to tell them on Independence Day at 50 years, yes, that I have ruled enough, because I stated it. The problems of Africa is overstaying in power. I have overstayed, mistakenly, but this time I am giving you this independence gift, and then we shall be there. So that's why the problem. Why all this is because these states where we live are not independent.
Vincent Mayanja, talk to us. Do you expect that scenario?
Well,
they say the president is sick. He coughed 40 times in 10 minutes.
But anyway, I think the problem here is just one. Is that when we are talking about issues concerning the nation, we personalize them. Yes. The debate on presidential term limits has been personalized. They haven't made that decision not because the debate is general for the country, but because it's about President Museveni. I think the debate should be about Uganda. What is good for Uganda? Term limits were really brought in after a thorough study, as Imam Kasozi has said. But in Africa, after independence, revolutionaries came and fought the monarchical establishment by then. That was, the leadership was hereditary and nobody could come in. But when we had independence, we replaced those kings with other monarchical leaders in form of African presidents or politicians who wanted to be in power for eternity. For example, Muammar Gaddafi was grooming his son to take over. We hear some other presidents are grooming their own sons to take over after them. We saw, is it Bongo or somebody?
Yes, in Gabon.
The son took over. So
leadership was
the framers of our constitution looked at this and said, no, we need this because it is good for the country. The country's democracy will grow. Because elections, somebody will come up and say, but this man is being elected every time as a
in this country. People love him.
Yes, but you know, elections don't really depict the true picture of what you want.
What do you mean? You one man
because
one vote.
The incumbency in Africa is misused. The incumbents, you see an incumbent who uses state coffers to campaign, who uses state machinery to campaign, who uses the state funds to campaign, and therefore the election can never be free and fair. So what we should be debating now is whether term limits are good for Uganda or not. We should not talk about term limits, whether they are good for President Museveni or not. And the NNRM cadre, NNRM leader is going to talk here and support the decision of NRM because they are thinking about President Museveni. I'm not thinking about President Museveni.
Although you're a new member of the disciplinary committee, give us the context of this inside of your party.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate the arguments put forward by my colleagues. First of all, I've just come in. I just dropped in around 3. So
You've been out of the country?
I've been out of the country on official duties.
Yes.
Some of the developments you may be talking about have not been party or privy, but I'll give you my thoughts regarding the same. I also just learned of it that I'd been given some responsibility in the party regarding the on the disciplinary committee, but I'm not here in that capacity. I'm here as a usual panelist on this program.
Go on, sir.
And my contribution should be appreciated from the viewpoint of a panelist who is always here.
Absolutely.
This is just additional responsibility which should not hamper my participation in this talk show.
Yes, sir.
Now, regarding the issue of presidential term limits, the debate is on. Definitely, I don't have much problem with it, but I think we need to, the debate should be structured, because we talk as if it is only term limits that do exist in the world. But there are limitless terms everywhere, in other places, in other jurisdictions. So I think we should be talking about merits and demerits of term limits, merits and demerits of no term limits, because Uganda is not an isolation in this. You definitely appreciate that there are even those democracies that we do.
Britain doesn't have term.
Britain doesn't have
Japan doesn't.
Japan, France, and all these places. So I think the debate should be term limits, merits, demerits, no term limits, demerits, merits. But we talk about this as if it is a condemned thing, and as if it doesn't exist anywhere, and as if we are power in the global order because we have it. I want us always to be balanced and say, look, maybe in our case, but let's appreciate that this situation is not very uncommon here. There are even very well established democracies which leave that to their parties, because we are running multi-party democracy, and a party should be given the freedom to front a candidate that they think is a vote winner. Now, if that candidate has been around long enough, maybe that will be a liability or an advantage to that party. So I think we can leave it to the party. I've seen situations where people have fronted candidates, not necessarily in power, but the candidates that they believe are the best vote winners. Even as we talk now, some of those parties still agitate to ensure that those leaders who they consider to be party vote winners, they're still behind them. So I think the debate should be, let's appreciate that these are two systems. There are systems where you gave them a lot of time to do their thing. I think they should allow me. And the two of them put together, they get really much bigger. Let me in this year. So I want us to debate it from a viewpoint that these are two possible scenarios, but when we put it as if it is one and nothing else, I think that we are not being fair to ourselves. Secondly, the issue of debating it is healthy from the perspective that I've given. I think it can be debated, but it also needs to be done in context.
Yes.
We've just gone through a political process, an election, and the president was given a mandate of 5 years. 1 year in his term, people are talking about going, I think this time should be for audit. We gave you 5 years, NRM as a party, and your presidential candidate. You promised ABCD in your manifesto. What have you delivered? For me, this is what I would be expecting now. This agitation is okay, but I think it should come at the right time. To me, the topic and the debate is okay, but the timing to me is diversionary, because someone I think we need to appreciate. We used to have a situation where we were operating on the basis of individual merit.
Yes.
When we went into parties and we went into collective, we need to respect the organizations to which we belong, and appear to be coordinated and appear to work as systems. So within the structures of different parties, there are different issues that need to be discussed. I believe there are issues which are being discussed in FDC, but they are being discussed within structures, and you don't get them out. So just to have a bit of order in the way we do things is healthy. I believe that we need to build consensus over certain matters.
It tells us that there are issues being discussed in FDC, indeed in NRM or any other party, but the issue of term limits is not for parties. It is a national thing, and therefore our concern, what the concern of the people here, you are saying it is everywhere. Indeed it is everywhere, but I want you to look at countries which have term limits and see their history. It is the history of these countries that actually mandated them to push for this.
For me, I just wanted to tell Honorable Sebalu that he's giving wrong examples. He's giving Britain and he's giving Japan. They are using different political systems. They are using different governance systems.
Yes.
We are following a presidential electoral system. In Britain, they are following a parliamentary electoral system. That the party that is voted into power, its leader becomes. And it doesn't matter who is he, but they say a leader. But the other thing, I agree with you that this must be structured. But don't make a mistake of saying that President Museveni has just served one year in his term. Now people are this is not about President Museveni. It's about Uganda. It's about Uganda.
But I think what I want him to appreciate that the other case where the leader automatically becomes, then by virtue of being a leader, you are automatically assured to be a flag bearer to take over. But in this case, our parties have to choose flag bearers, and it is within my power as a party to choose the person that is best fitted to win the vote.
This is
Why do you think?
When Junior lost his appetite, his mother tried all methods to get him to eat. She tried scary stories.
Eat, Tommy, eat, or the big black elephant will come and eat all your food.
She tried magic.
Tommy, if you eat your food, I will turn this handkerchief into sweets. Look, bumble, bumble, boom, boom.
Then she discovered Apetol multivitamin syrup with lysine.
Mommy, I finished all the food. I am number 1.
Apeton multivitamin with lysine is helping mothers to turn mealtime frustration to a fun moment. Apeton has a great taste and contains lysine, which quickly improves your child's appetite and supports healthy growth. Apeton, help for life.
John, Mike and I, we go back a bit. We knew John at the beginning, working for someone else. But he was different. He had vision, saw opportunities. He started working towards his goal, opened his own garage, and worked, learning the hard way. His reputation spread. Trust, consistency, quality. Soon people were coming to him from all parts. He made himself and his whole street prosper, and also helped friends, seeing potential in people and helping them on. But John never shouts about all his success. He's just who he is. Special.
So here's to men like John, who make a difference, who enjoy Nile Special, the rich, satisfying taste from the source. Nile Special. You've earned it.
Not for sale to persons under 18.
My name's Dominic Opey, a driver. I want a cash of 1 million shillings. I subscribe star 200 hash. The money can do some small business for my family. I would therefore invite the others who are not yet with Airtel to also come and join us and then play chicken.
More houses, more millions, and more talk with Chika Too Good Chikaye. Dial star 500 hash. Get 30 Airtel to Airtel minutes and stand a chance to win 1 million shillings every day and one of 2 houses every month. Activate Chika today and win big. Chika Too Good Chikaye. Chika Too Good Chikaye.
Airtel.
Accept no substitutes.
Radio 1, FM 90.
Welcome back to Spectrum on Radio 1. Tonight we're reviewing the week. Our guest tonight, Honorable Mike Sebalu, East African Legislative Assembly MP, representing Uganda, member of the NRM NECAN, that disciplinary committee just been appointed there. Imam Kasozi, a lecturer at the Islamic University in Uganda and with Islam. Cleric and Mr. Vincent Mayanja, Deputy Secretary General of the Democratic Party. You can send us your messages on using your phone. Send that message. Type the word Spectrum, message, question or comment, send it to 7197. That is Spectrum. Message, question or comment 7197. Imam Kasozi, 380 billion shillings spent on foreign treatment. Is that too little, or are we doing the right things? Some people think it can do a lot for
treatment for who? You see, I want to be specific now. Treatment for who?
For the sick.
Because 380
billion shillings only.
For how many people? And for what ailments? Oh, supposing this money was used to boost our health institutions, okay, would it be a better option? I think it would be. But the unfortunate part is that some of the cases here, that's why I don't want you to be scared because of the amount of money. No, I want first of all to say what the cases, how did they come about, and who are involved? Because you may be saying this.
What number would make you? Let me move. 10,000 sent for treatment.
2 years ago, I think almost 2 years ago, I personally went for treatment for my wife.
Yes.
And I footed the bill myself alone. And my friends, to a tune of about 40 million shillings. Actually, over 40 million shillings, including if I put in now the air tickets.
Yeah.
Okay. It was over that. Me as an individual, not care for the reason why people are making all the cries. It is because this money is treating a selected special group of Ugandans at the expense of the rest of the Ugandans. Right. To the extent, hold on,
yes,
that even some of the killer diseases we had forgotten about are emerging.
Because the health system is neglected.
Has been neglected. So that is actually the whole idea. So until people realize this, let us get a proper and a thorough, let the Auditor General, okay, go and break this thing into a clarity.
Give us a list of names.
That people will understand this. Because you may be talking about this, and part of this is what an individual paid for himself and went for treatment. In the seminar last year, a headmaster of a school in Kavari went for treatment again in India. And they never paid for him. We raised family. They say, unfortunately, when he came back here after some 2-3 months, this man died. So it's unfortunate.
Okay. Imam, okay. I think Honorable Mike Sebalu, what's your view here? 380
No,
billion
I think my view is that we need to do some very good cost-benefit analysis on this matter, and we need to mobilize and do strategic investment in the health systems, because one thing that I know for a fact, Uganda is not short of human resource expertise in the medical field. I've been to South Africa. I was there when I was a member of the Pan-African Parliament, and I was able to visit very many hospitals there. Most of these cases which are referred to South Africa are actually handled by Ugandans who are working in South Africa, and they are highly respected, they are highly valued, but the environment under which they work is different. They've got all the equipment, they've got all the machines that are needed, and many of them actually were thinking of relocating and creating this. So if we can reinvest as a country and get this kind of money and buy the equipment that we need, you hear of things like cancer, whatever, all the doctors, we have the specialists, but we lack the equipment. So if we do a strategic investment in this sector, we can save a lot, which savings can be again reinvested and we improve, because most of the ailments for which we send people out, we've got Ugandans who are specialized in that, but it is the question of facilities and a few other things that can be worked on. So my take is that we can really look at this and plow it back, improve facilities, get all these doctors of ours who are working out and pay them well. I think we can really turn around the health system.
Well, this is really an indicator of the bad priorities we have in this country, and we need really to sit down and look at where we invest, and we invest properly. Because I was making a very simple calculation when I heard Imam Kasozi saying that he took somebody out and it costed 40 million shillings. So I said maybe it's about 50 million. Yes. And after calculation, I found out that the 380 billion could have treated similar cases of up to 19,000 people.
Yes.
But if really we have a country where 19,000 cases cannot be handled locally, then we are in trouble, and the government should really look at all that and find solutions. But I think we need to, first of all, as Honorable Sebalu said, we need to make strategic planning. All right. And more importantly is that we train our doctors who are really endowed with a lot of skills. We train them, we take them there instead, train them with those machines,
give them 2 million shillings a month,
and then come back and invest this money in proper health sector.
Imam, so the clashes within the Muslim community, can you for instance tell us what happened today at the Old Kampala Mosque as you went to vote? Talk to us about that tonight.
As I went
to vote tonight, this afternoon.
At least in my mosque we did not vote, and I did not see any officer coming for voting, nor did I see anybody come there to register people for voting. The voting people are talking about, and the process and the constitution of the MSC that I know, I think that is not the way. The whole idea is camouflage. The reason is the way Muslims are assessed in this country is what leads to what you are seeing. The Muslims are the ones who get the highest number of visits to State House at ease.
Oh, really?
Yes, you hear everybody talks. I have been in the president's office, the president has called us, but where they start and where they end, it all ends dramatically. And every other time they have come back, they have one common answer.
What's the answer?
He tells them that I did not know that, and I don't believe him, because I'm very certain President Seven is a very knowledgeable person, but those Muslims who still think that he will rejuvenate and help them, it is unfortunate.
All right.
What do we need in order to avoid this embarrassment? Okay? Because it is an embarrassment that at this time, when people are thinking of development, people are thinking of fighting over simple things.
What simple things?
It's a simple thing.
Control of a big mosque on a hill in the capital.
You don't need to. You can go and build your own mosque and control it and have power. And people will come there in big numbers, depending on the service. But what is the problem? The problem, what you are seeing, is that weak and poor leaders in the community trying to seek protection from the state.
Yes.
And the state, because it has all the time degraded the community, one, we arrived very late in education.
The Muslims.
The Muslims. The only thing that the Muslims arrived early in this country is the political formation of this country. They have been part of and parcel ever since politics began in this country.
Right.
But in education, they arrived late. Therefore, they are assessed wrongly. So that's why they cherish, some individuals cherish that we have been hosted for a meal in State House. But a strong man like myself,
you want to
whether you invite, I will not, because the problem of the Muslim community is not a dinner in the State House. The problem of the Muslim community is how do we get the community organized to compete favorably with others.
Let's move forward.
So, finally,
yes, go on, very briefly.
There is something which I don't want to agree with here.
Yes, what's that?
Somebody is trying to link probably the shooting of Sheikh Abdul Karim in cold blood to this
connected with
this affair.
Give us clarity.
Yes, I want to discuss it as a Ugandan, and
the time is
for all Ugandans.
The time is
now the security of Ugandans is at risk.
We have to move forward. We will discuss it another day.
No, people are not minding. You see, it could be you, it could be me, it could be somebody else. Before, actually, why people had not been concerned, because it were this.
Maybe we'll come back to it. Let's talk about something else. We'll get back to that security point.
No, Edmond, let me tell you, this is a very critical and serious.
We'll discuss. Let's talk about the decision by the East African Legislative Assembly to yesterday you passed a resolution unanimously asking the presidents of the East African countries to ensure that cases against these Kenyans at the ICC, at one time they were called the Ocampo 6, are referred to the East African Community Court of Justice. Now these suspects have also asked the Kenyan government to ask the ICC to defer the trial until the elections are over. Was that a wise decision from Arusha?
First of all, the issue of the Muslim clashes,
one sentence.
One sentence is that it is in the best interest of the Muslim community and this country to try and build consensus and forge unity. All attempts in that direction must be encouraged. Because at the end of the day, as a country, we benefit when we have different sections of the country at peace and engaging in developing their respective
campuses.
Now, regarding the issue of the ICC, I think yes, this motion resolution was moved yesterday by the East African Legislative Assembly, and it was unanimous. It was supported, and the idea was to pass this request to through the Council of Ministers to the Summit of Heads of State. You'll appreciate that we are coming together as a region, and we should be in the habit of encouraging internal capacity to deal with our issues as a region and the collective sovereignty of the region, because any threat on any one of us is a threat to our collective unity as a region.
Some people think it's not encouraging impunity.
No, not at all. So we've got institutions that we've put in place, which institutions are over and above national jurisdiction. We've got the East African Court of Justice, and we pray that the mandate and jurisdiction of this court can be expanded to include include hearing such cases, so that when we have anything like this happening within the region, we have a level over and above a given national state to deal with it. And East African Court of Justice is best placed to deal with this.
Mr. Mayanja, do you agree with that?
Well, I don't know that the East African Court of Justice is really a court that handles criminal matters.
But we are talking of extending jurisdiction. Actually, the resolution.
Is it for the future? You can.
Yeah, to jurisdiction. You start with this.
My point was this, that they are laid out procedures of how you can retrieve a case from the International Criminal Court to your local setup, or if you have the capacity. And I think you are talking to the ICC director or something like that. You want the presidents to do that. I think you should go to the UN Security Council, because it is the one that deals with that they can refer this case back. They say that no, this one can be handled, they have the capacity, and the ICC has to come assess your capacity, whether you can handle war crimes, crimes against humanity in a local setting, and to people get justice. If that is the case, for me, I don't have any problem, because
but the procedure again, whatever you do, you have to pass through the summit of heads of state. But they're the ones who put the request, be it UN or any other. So our view as a parliament was to appeal to the summit to consider this option.
I don't know for what interest is it coming now. This very East African Legislative Assembly was present when these people were killing each other. What did they do? Why are they waiting after somebody has investigated his case? He's going to try it, and then they are saying, bring it to us. It is good for us to develop these institutions, but we must also be prepared all the time that when it is occurring and it's happening, we play a role.
What do you think is the motive of their decision?
Of course, it is delaying justice.
Delaying justice.
Yeah.
African Brotherhood.
Yeah.
And many other problems, because many East African leaders themselves, they expect such situations to emerge in their countries. As we open debate in many
explain that in detail.
They are not foolproof. Some of those who are saying this celebrated Charles Taylor's judgment by this. Why didn't they push it? Why didn't the East African Legislative Assembly use the African Union or whatever to say that even Taylor, because he was the head of state of one of the countries, he shared with them a lot of many other things. Okay, so the whole idea is, to me, the argument of Honorable Sebalu is valid to develop our institutions. Okay, but we must not always wait for these things to occur and we are looking on, and then we say, we can now handle. I am asking at this time, what is the problem?
Imam, in fact, they are trying to forestall what is coming. Because many of the leaders in this region are very, very good candidates of ICC, and they want to stop that.
No, I think
why Taylor was convicted was because he involved himself in a war in a neighboring country, which committed a number of atrocities. We already have a case in Congo where we are supposed to pay billions of dollars, and the same grounds that were used to when we lost that case, and the same grounds that were used to convict this man, Rubanga. Some leaders fear that ICC may be about to run to them, and they want to use regional blocks to block the process of the law. They should face the law. They should pay for what they have done, and it is now. They should not prolong it.
I think when we discuss these matters, we need to discuss them in context, because EALA is a legislative arm. None of the members of EALA is a president, is or anything. But I'm interested. One time you had interest in joining EALA.
Yes.
I think when we are in institutions, we need to learn to build them. And the opportunities that come, they may be positive or negative, but for you to build an institution. So for you to bring the issue of Taylor Taylor is within ECOWAS. If they have not taken it upon themselves, we can. But we have East Africa, which has a court of justice, and we feel that by empowering it and extending jurisdiction, we are beginning to give our institutions mandate and relevance.
Yes.
So for us to trivialize it to leaders, I think is diversionary in my view.
Right.
The intentions of Parliament are and were that there is this case. We were part of it, we were there. Why do you think? Why do you think?
Those who act like that is diversionary. And you, who want to restrict the ICC from doing its duty, you are not diversionary.
No, I think when you are dealing with these matters, you know, like for instance, in law, they tell you that the best course of action in order to administer good justice is that it should be closest to the scene of crime.
Yes.
There are certain issues, certain situations. Do you know that some of these people, for instance, have to take their own witnesses, and they have to pick the bills? And if you look at the kind of money that is put there, if that money is brought and it is helped to build institutions within, I think you see, someone is innocent until proved guilty. We are talking as if the people are guilty. We are talking about justice being administered. And what we are saying, what is the best environment?
But did the people die?
Yes, they did.
Why? Are these 6 people or so, or now I think 4 remaining, are they the only Kenyans who were present when these people
you see, even the beauty, that is even goes to support my view. Yes. We are saying the beauty of having this process done here, it even stretches to the victims. We are talking about both the victims and those that are being suspected, so that there is a mechanism that addresses the entire problem.
Kenyan was given a chance to do it, and they never did it. They were given deadlines. They kept shifting.
Yeah, that's why we are saying that this could have been too much for them. That's why we are talking about a regional initiative, a collective initiative in this respect, so that it is not left to Kenya. And actually, the reason that we are talking about East African Court of Justice is to get it from the domestic politics, so that it is at the regional and it is better appreciated.
We are using it as a long-term project. Let this one go to the Hague, and then the future, next, in case it happens again. We build our institutions at our own time. We don't do it in a hurry.
No, because you see, building this provides an opportunity for you to get a precedent.
I think you've explained it very well.
And even you know, we are very interested in the Hague. If you look at what happened in Libya, for instance, now Gaddafi's son is being lined up, but those that were part of the NATO team, none has been arraigned. Are you telling me that they were not involved in acts that were against crimes against humanity? So if we go into that, there are serious issues. When we go to Gabubo and Watara, it is very bad. Both of them ever did something, but it is if we go into the details, we can have a problem.
Sebalu has realized this in that fashion, because for a long time he's an admirer of these people. I have told you in this radio that what they call the international community does not exist.
Mr. Vincent,
only interest groups.
Let's talk about Sudan. There is tension in that country. The US has proposed a legislation at the UN today, a draft, the circulator draft, saying they will put sanctions on the 2 Sudans.
Well, I hope that the situation in southern Sudan or Sudan is not going to be used again for the big brother to come in this region, because all this started when they were looking. Salva Kiir ordered his troops to go to Heglik, and nobody was looking at it, and nobody really. When the war started, then they said, "No, you withdraw." So they should really be serious with this situation, because it can really escalate into a real war in this region, and we don't want any war now. I think both Sudans should really sit down and go back to the negotiation table And really the international community, the role of the international community should be really to see what are the demarcations of the Sudan borders.
They need to resolve that.
They just need to resolve that, and that can solve anything. Instead of talking about who is attacking who is doing this, and that we should come in and impose sanctions, they should remember that any sanctions you impose on any African country, they are not impacting on the leaders, but on the population. Right. So they whatever sanctions they will propose are not going to.
North Sudan says they won't talk. They're ready only for war because the Southerners are insects.
You know this situation of north of Sudan and South Sudan. There is no longer north. The other one is Sudan.
For north for clarity. But
the other one is Sudan. The other one is South Sudan. Yes. And I was attending a meeting in Juba, and by slip of tongue, I talked of Southern Sudan. You could see how those guys really, because it presupposes that they are still part of the other
South Sudan,
confederation. South Sudan. Right. Very clear. When you ever get across them, remember
maybe
that
they should get another name.
Now, it is a very interesting dynamic. One is that Sudan still has issues of SPLM. You remember when you had the entire Sudan, there was a bigger force of SPLA, some of which lived beyond the current South Sudan. So when South got independence, there remained those other collaborators or part of SPLA, which are in areas that are not part of South Sudan, like Kordofan and other areas. And they still remain aggrieved. And they are still, in conflict with the regime in Khartoum. Now, this time round, those people are the ones who had issues. Actually, they began their skirmishes. But this gives the Sudan a good excuse to use the South to show that it is being attacked and the South is the aggressor. So, even in a situation where South has moved out of headgearing, you find that the North still pursues the interest of using this skirmish to isolate the South as being the aggressor.
Right.
So I think the international community needs to look at this, and I agree with my brother. The issue of clear demarcation of border, because without a clear border, now someone said these people have attacked me. Even when the people who have attacked are within the geographical boundary of Sudan, the north one, someone would use it to isolate the south.
Arunda Nyakarima said we are ready to help Sudan. The minister, that's the army commander, was chief of defense forces. The minister of defense says he didn't say it. He was misquoted, even though whatever it is. The South Sudan ambassador, the Sudanese ambassador in Johannesburg, in Pretoria, says whoever wants to help North Sudan to fight the Northern Sudan should be ready for fire.
When you accept to be used as a pawn on a chessboard, those are the consequences.
Who's being used as a pawn?
We are part of the whole thing.
And who's using us?
The big brother is saying he should not come back here, because you will see, if you have been following events critically, you could think that troops were moving to Central Africa. To look for Konyi.
Yes.
Or troops are moving to Somalia.
Where are they going?
Or troops are moving to Somalia. Troops are moving to this Southern Sudan. South Sudan, as he has put it. So the whole idea is, people must be very open into this matter. I was here, you remember, I was here, and I said to me as a person, despite all the problems these people had, it was not good. It was not a good opportunity, a good step for us to witness that situation, but it occurred. The situation of dividing this country.
You didn't want it?
No, because I know. I know they are going to be even.
Well, for 50 years they were neglected. There are 60 kilometers of tarmac in that. You can't get to Lugazi from here.
The Banyoro live here, they are with us. Fortunately now they have oil with them, also with them.
They are neglected.
For so many years they tell us they are neglected. That is a trend in Africa. But people, because when it comes to Sudan, particularly, the whole idea is because people are Arabizing,
so they should
Islamizing, Christianizing,
we have to go.
and until we get out of that talks, we are going to be in trouble.
They should reunite the two Sudans.
No. I think they should just agree to work together as brothers because they have been one country. They should accept each other.
All right.
And they would do Africa good if they did just that.
We have to go. Maybe they'll end up as one country when they join the East African community under one president. Whoever it will be.
Let them appreciate that they can coexist.
Maybe they come into the East African community, one country.
Benefit from one another.
Can Sudan be given a seat in the East African community? South Sudan is being considered.
Yes, once Southern Sudan is considered,
then they because
they share border. Both of them are potential. They can easily be part of the region.
So they could end up as one country.
I think what they need to appreciate is that they cannot coexist and work in an arrangement of mutual benefit.
We have to go. Thank you very much indeed. It could go up the DR Congo. Yes. Maybe we'll get some countries from West Africa joining us as well. We have to go anyway. Thank you very much, dear guest. Honorable Mike Sebalu, Uganda representative of the East African Legislative Assembly, also a brand new member of the Disciplinary Committee. He didn't campaign for it. He was out of the country. He got it. Mr. Vincent Mayanja, Deputy Secretary General of the Democratic Party, thank you for coming to Spectrum, and Imam in Kasozi.
I want to pass on my sympathy to all the Muslim community because for the last 2 weeks we have lost over 7 prominent Muslims.
Thank you for tuning in. I've been your host. Thank you for tuning in. Have a very good weekend.